You know what really gets me? When a Prime Minister spends weeks telling you something is unnecessary, divisive, and a terrible idea, and then suddenly announces exactly that thing, acts like it was the plan all along, and expects you to applaud the leadership. Anthony Albanese just backflipped on a royal commission into anti-Semitism after holding out like his political life depended on it. And here is the thing, this was not some minor policy tweak. This was a full-blown humiliation dressed up as listening to the people. 48% of Australians wanted this inquiry before Christmas. Only 17% opposed it. And yet the Prime Minister dug in, dismissed it, and let Pauline Hanson drag him through the political mud in Parliament before finally caving. So let's be absolutely clear about what just happened here, because this is not about leadership. This is about a government that misjudged the room, got caught out, and is now scrambling to rewrite the script. Before we go any further, if you are sick of the spin, the backflips, and the carefully managed messaging that treats you like you cannot see what is right in front of you, subscribe to AUS Daily Report and hit the notifications bell. This channel does not do political loyalty. It does not do corporate talking points. It calls out decisions based on outcomes, not intentions. And right now, the outcome is a Prime Minister who just proved he would rather defend a position than listen to nearly half the country calling for accountability. Now, let's talk about what actually happened here, because the framing matters. Albanese did not wake up one morning and decide a royal commission was suddenly a great idea. He was dragged there, kicking and screaming. For weeks, he resisted calls from the opposition, from Jewish community leaders, from his own backbench, and from a public that was increasingly frustrated with rising anti-Semitism and a political response that felt completely inadequate. The Resolve poll was damning, 48% in favour, only 17% against, and 34% unsure or neutral. That is not a divided electorate, that is a clear signal, and Albanese ignored it. Why? Because royal commissions are risky, they are expensive, they are unpredictable, they shine a light on things governments would rather keep quietly managed, and most importantly, they take control out of the hands of politicians and put it into the hands of independent investigators who do not care about your polling numbers or your media strategy. So Albanese held the line. He called it unnecessary. He suggested other measures were already in place. He framed it as divisive. And then Pauline Hanson stood up in Parliament and turned the screws. Now, say what you want about Hanson, and plenty do, but she read the room better than the Prime Minister did. She pushed hard on this issue, she made it politically uncomfortable, and she put Albanese in a position where continuing to resist was going to look worse than caving in. And that is exactly what happened. On Thursday, Albanese announced the Royal Commission. He also announced the Commissioner. He also announced the terms of reference. And he framed the whole thing as though it was part of a deliberate, well-planned process, as if he'd been working on this all along and just needed to get the details right before going public. Let me be very direct here. That is not what happened. What happened is that the political pressure became unbearable, the optics became indefensible, and the Prime Minister realised that holding out any longer was going to cost him more than caving in. So he backflipped, and then he tried to make it look like leadership. This matters because it reveals something important about how this government operates. It is not leading, it is managing, it is focus grouping, it is waiting to see which way the wind is blowing and then adjusting course while pretending the compass was pointing that direction the whole time. And that might work in a stable economy with low inflation, cheap mortgages and happy voters, but we do not have that. We have an economy where real wages are still being eaten alive by the cost of living, where interest rates are pinning households to the wall, where grocery bills are a weekly gut punch, and where people are sick of being told everything is under control when it very clearly is not. And here is where the pressure really starts. Because this is not just about one backflip on one issue. This is about a pattern of announcing policies, retreating from them, reframing them, and then hoping the public does not notice. A pattern of waiting until the political cost of inaction outweighs the political cost of action, and then acting like it was the plan all along. a pattern of treating the electorate like they're too distracted, too disengaged, or too unsophisticated to see what is happening. But people are not distracted. They are paying very close attention. They are watching their budgets shrink. They are watching their rents rise. They are watching fuel costs, electricity bills, and childcare fees climb, while being told inflation is moderating. They are watching housing become completely unaffordable for an entire generation, while being told supply is improving. And they are watching a Prime Minister backflip on a royal commission and then act like he was listening all along. So let's talk about what this Royal Commission is actually going to do, because that is the part most people are not being told. A Royal Commission into anti-Semitism will investigate the rise of anti-Semitic incidents, the adequacy of existing laws, the role of social media, the response of institutions, and the lived experience of Jewish Australians who have faced harassment, violence, and intimidation. It will have the power to compel witnesses, access documents, and make findings that could be deeply uncomfortable for universities, media organisations, political parties, and government agencies. And that is exactly why Albanese did not want it. Because royal commissions do not just investigate the obvious targets, they investigate the system. They ask why things were allowed to happen. They ask who failed to act. They ask what warnings were ignored. And when you're the Prime Minister presiding over a period of rising anti-Semitism, those are not questions you want a public inquiry asking on the record. But now it is happening, and the terms of reference are broad, and the Commissioner has real power, and the findings are going to be public. And that means this is not just a symbolic gesture. This is going to produce recommendations that the government will be expected to act on. And if those recommendations are strong, and if they are ignored, the political cost will be brutal. Here is the broader economic point. This is not just about anti-Semitism. This is about trust. Trust in institutions, trust in government, trust that when the public raises an issue, it will be taken seriously. And right now, that trust is eroding, not because Australians are cynical or disengaged, but because they are being told one thing and experiencing another. They are being told the economy is resilient while their household budgets are collapsing. They are being told housing is being addressed while prices keep climbing. They are being told the government is listening while it takes weeks of public pressure to get a response on something nearly half the country wanted. And that erosion of trust has real consequences. It means people stop believing economic reassurances. It means they stop trusting government forecasts. It means they stop giving politicians the benefit of the doubt. And it means that when the next crisis hits, and it will, the government will have less credibility to manage it. So what does this mean for ordinary Australians? It means that the government is reactive, not proactive. It means that policy is being driven by political survival, not by principle or long-term strategy. And it means that if you want accountability, you're going to have to demand it loudly, persistently, and publicly, because waiting for leadership to emerge on its own is not working. Albanese prides himself on being in tune with the public mood, but on this issue he was not. He misjudged it badly, and Thursday's announcement was not leadership, it was damage control. It was a humiliation repackaged as consultation, and no amount of spin is going to change that. Thanks for watching.